Welcome to Have You Read It? The channel where we bring books to life, one summary at a time. Today we're diving into Men Who Hate Women by Laura Bates. A deep exploration of the manosphere and its impact on our society. This book is a crucial read for anyone wanting to understand the roots of online misogyny and how it translates into real-world harm. Bates doesn't shy away from the disturbing realities, offering a well-researched and unsettling look at the communities where hatred festers. In Men Who Hate Women, Laura Bates guides us through the disturbing world of online misogyny, focusing on the manosphere, a collection of interconnected websites, blogs, forums, and online communities where hatred towards women thrives. Bates begins by introducing us to the incel community, the most violent corner of the manosphere, and how easily young men can be indoctrinated into this world. Using the persona of a fictional young man named Alex to illustrate this process, she explains that the incel community is devoted to violent hatred of women and actively recruits members who might have very real problems and vulnerabilities, telling them that women are the cause of all their woes. She traces the origins of incels to a project started by a Canadian woman named Alana, highlighting how it has transformed into something unrecognizable, now filled with men who hate women. The book highlights that the growth of the movement has, in part, coincided with the widespread adoption of the internet, but it has also seen a marked expansion over the past 5 to 10 years, alongside a similar increase in the popularity and visibility of a progressive feminist movement, particularly in Europe and North America. The concept of taking the red pill, borrowed from the Matrix, is central to the incel ideology, representing a moment when men believe they see the truth about a massive feminist conspiracy. According to this view, society is a gynocracy designed to keep men in their subordinate place. The author notes the diversity of the incel community, which spans from blue-collar workers to privileged private school graduates. Despite this, they are united by a craving to belong, which is met in spades by a community that excels at conveying a tribal sense of cohesion. The book further explores the language and jargon used by incels, like roasty and foid, which serve to dehumanize women and reinforce the group's ideology. The exclusive terminology plays an important role in reinforcing the clandestine thrill of belonging to what adherents see as a superior and close-knit community, thus increasing the attractiveness of the group to potential recruits. Bates notes that incels create their own language, because there simply aren't existing words to express the extremity of many of the concepts they use on a daily basis. She also points out that socioeconomic background of members is too diverse wholly to confirm any one of those theories. Next, Bates turns her attention to pickup artists, or PURs, explaining that while they may seem different from incels, both groups share a common foundation in the separation of men and women into narrow, highly stereotypical categories. PURs believe it is possible to learn the exact secret combination of buttons to push and levers to pull, in order to trick the machine into paying out every time, regardless of the customer. Bates uncovers the PUA community's language and techniques, including negging and kino escalation, revealing how they are trained in harassment, stalking, and even sexual assault. The goal is to evolve from an average frustrated chump to a master pickup artist or pickup guru. The author illustrates that PUA techniques are often violent and misogynistic, citing examples from well-known pickup gurus. She goes over some of the terminology of PUAs, including bait, hook, reel, release, target, and gaming to describe women as prey. The book also considers men going their own way, or MGTOW, a movement whose members choose to eschew relationships with women altogether. Though this may seem less immediately threatening, it is underpinned by a wider notion of women as irreversibly toxic and dangerous. The foundational belief of MGTOW is that women's liberation is at the root of all male suffering, illustrated in countless blogs, forum discussions, and YouTube videos. Alex was 24 and had never had a girlfriend and felt frustrated and lonely, so it annoyed him when people said that he was privileged. The author reveals that MGTOW are motivated by a concern that their male genius could be compromised by contamination with feminine mediocrity. And their prime focus is a feverish obsession with sex and anger at being denied it. The book stresses that there is a lot of risk, explaining that a member of MGTO are in constant fear of false accusations, and women are perceived to be dangerous. The next group explored are men's rights activists, who the author argues might more accurately be described as women's wrongs activists because they campaign for the exact opposite of its name. She points out that mores are concerned, to the point of obsession, with attacking women. And she highlights that their prime focus is women's alleged falsehoods and misdeeds. The author emphasizes that MRAs are a key piece in the puzzle, as mere representatives often find fertile ground in news programs concerned with providing balance. She also makes note of a claim that mystery groups are a reaction to diminishing social status of cisgender white men. The book looks at online trolls and the claim that it is a harmless, comical figures of fun or as nasty, mean, but ultimately dim-witted bottom dwellers, cringing away from sunlight, too stupid to do much real damage beyond giving people the occasional scare. However, the author writes that their actual behavior are neither of those and is a much darker reality. Bates explains that the term trolling refers to the practice whereby seasoned and regular users of a particular forum or Usenet group would deliberately ask a very simple question, pretending to be extremely stupid or confused. She then makes a point about that, given the opportunity. Some trolls are also members of PUA, MGTOW, and incel communities. Men Who Hate Women touches on the mass harassment campaign called Gamergate to show the real-world implications of trolling tactics and how members of the alt-right became culturally influential with the help of language adopted by incels. The book also discusses what steps some anti-feminist figures take in order to avoid accountability for harm and hate generated online. The book also explores men who hurt women to show that the issues feed closely into one another, and their root drivers are inextricably intertwined. The book explains that those who perpetrate domestic violence do so to get what they want and to gain control. The author draws a connection between mass terror attacks and men with a history of domestic abuse, and notes that violence against women is at stratospheric levels. She claims it is essential that people are made aware of how low-level violence leads to extreme and long-term abuse. Lastly, Bates discusses the men who don't know that they hate women and discusses how they may not be part of the most extreme manosphere communities. They are nonetheless absorbing aspects of their ideology, packaged in easily digestible and highly memorable memes and jokes, or made palatable and respectable for mainstream consumption by prominent media figures. She stresses that action must be taken to keep hateful rhetoric out of children's earshot online or offline. The book also touches on the theme of people acting with malice and not realizing their hatred of women, while those who are more informed continue to battle in the name of a world with no violence or hate. Alright, let's distill some key takeaways from Men Who Hate Women. *The manosphere is not a joke. It's a network of interconnected groups that can radicalize vulnerable individuals. Online hate has real-world consequences. The book connects online misogyny to acts of violence, emphasizing that words have power. Misogyny is often overlooked. Violence against women is frequently downplayed or ignored, even in cases of terrorism. We need to challenge harmful stereotypes. Rigid gender roles and expectations can be damaging to both men and women. Silence is not an option. We must confront misogyny and hate speech to protect our communities. In closing, Men Who Hate Women is more than just an exploration of online subcultures. It's a wake-up call to recognize the insidious nature of misogyny in our society. Laura Bates challenges us to confront uncomfortable truths and take action against the hate-filled forces that threaten our boys and girls. This book serves as a stark reminder that silence is not an option and that we must all be vigilant in protecting the boys and girls in our lives. Thanks for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up And hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss our next book dive.